Look, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Welcome to Cornhusker Corner with Blake.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I'm Brooks.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
And you better bet your bottom dollar that these two brothers know how to handle business.
Here's a hand up to Thunder, who gives it back to Mike Stokes. He's going to throw it. He's got a man out. Yeah! 40. It is. Very close. 15, 10.
All right, welcome to Cornhusker Corner, where there's no place like this podcast. As always, your host Blake, my brother Brooks. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're just gonna get right into it because it is game week, my bro, and we actually have some predictions to talk about, and some dreams to forecast here. But the college football season is, very much in flow. It's right on top of us, riding us really softly. So it's about to get really rough for some teams out there. But right now it's going good, and we're just going right along. But it's good to be back. Before we get into our game, that the game in Ireland.
Oh man,
my goodness, it was what a wild one that was.
I tell you what, Florida State fooled a lot of people. They fooled a lot of them, me included, in one of them. I was thoroughly fooled by Florida State. Sorry, it bothers me when my hat is crooked. If you haven't noticed, I haven't actually ever verbalized this on this show, but if you haven't noticed, I always wear a hat, and I'm adjusting it constantly throughout the show. So I'm sorry if I bother some of you, but it just bothers me when I look up and all of a sudden the hat's crooked. Anyway, Florida State fooled a lot of people. They fooled one of me. I put some money down on them. I'm already 0-1 on the year for my bets. I put some money down on them to cover. I mean, it was only a 10.5 point spread. So you got to think about what this looked like going into the game. We even talked about it. And you thought, okay, that might be a pretty good bet, right? So did I. So did a lot of people. And then all of a sudden, Georgia Tech showed, man, you can flip a roster in one season with a coaching change and with some transfers, with the right transfers. And not only that, it's like Florida State. The other narrative coming out of it is Florida State didn't tackle supposedly in their camp. Georgia Tech did, obviously. Yeah. So that physicality showed, because what it was these Georgia Tech running backs or receivers or whoever, they would get into these scrum piles, and then they'd just squirt on out and go for 20, 30 yards or a touchdown. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. And we talked about this off air. It was kind of reminiscent of our Ireland game, because that was the kind of the thing coming out of that camp as well. We weren't tackling in practice, and it showed on the field. And the heavy favorites ended up not pulling it out, and it was a 3-point game. I'm pretty sure that's what we ended up losing by 2, right? It's 3 points.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. But it was funny though, because I was actually just in Ireland. I was there the week before the game. We didn't plan that out very well. It was, you could already see the banners and everything, and so many Florida State people already there. We went to Guinness our last day there, which was Friday. So it was basically a week before the game, and they were walking all over the place. Apparently the teams had already been there. The Florida State specifically, we had heard that they went to the Guinness factory. So maybe they had one or two,
I tell you what, I love the tomahawk chop, right? And the chant associated with it. But I mean, and I'm one to speak, we're Nebraska fans. We have no rhythm, but they're tone deaf. They're one of the most tone deaf fan bases, because they do the tomahawk chop and of course, and they got a band leading them through it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's still if you really listen to it, it's barely holding itself together.
Yeah, Chiefs really do it better.
Yeah, they honestly do. They honestly do. Yeah. I went to the Peach Bowl in 2015 when U of H played Florida State. And they had a solid showing of fans there, probably a solid 35,000 Florida State fans there. And so they did it, and they were better at it back then. I'll tell you what, they need to go back to the drawing board and figure out who they need their group leaders to be, and then figure it out, because it's a great chant. It's a great chant. It is. But anyway, let's move on to Nebraska.
Yeah,
stuff.
but let's move on to Nebraska stuff. You know, so
that's what I just said.
Yeah. So UTEP, our first opponent of the 2024 season, a season that has a lot riding on it, in terms of momentum. This game is very important, in terms of, again, momentum for the rest of the season, setting the tone, all the off-season narratives, you know, all the basically national pundits picking us to have a bounce back year, because Matt Rule's teams always make a jump in second year. I hate that. Not just when they do it with our team. I hate it when they do it in general. Oh yeah, they do that. Like Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer is a winner, so he's going to win in Alabama. I think he is, but it's not a given, right? So it's not
but those things are things for a reason.
Yeah, but it's not given that a Matt Rule second year team is going to make a significant jump. What they're looking at was a quarterback play and a couple holes that they fixed, and we were probably an 11-win team last year. So that's what people are looking at, and hopefully, I hope they're right. But this is a very important game to get started, the season, and get started on the right foot.
I feel like what you're really talking about is big picture, directional things that you attribute directly to a coach, right? So with us, it's Matt Rule in year 2, right? That's what everyone talks about. With a couple others I can think of is Lincoln Riley can't get his defense together, right?
Yeah,
that's another one. That's the big picture narrative. Another one was Lincoln Riley can't get his defense together. Kalen DeBoer is just going to win, like you said. And then I just had a really good one. If I think of it, I'll bring it back up. It was Dabo Swinney can't get with the times. That's another big one. All these things that are probably true, but ultimately, why we watch this season, especially when it comes to these teams we just mentioned, are they're trying to disprove those things. You know what I mean? They're trying to disprove those. Dabo's trying to prove that you can still win the traditional way. And Lincoln's trying to prove that he can put together a defense. Kalen's trying to prove that he is a winner, and Matt Rule is trying to prove that year 2 Matt Rule is the thing. So ultimately, that those are a thing for I get you. That's a media thing, right? If it was just us and we didn't have CBS and On3 and all these things constantly bombarding us with content, I don't know what narratives we would just put together from scratch, but. Well, I mean, but probably year 2 Rule would be a thing, because it's just a track record thing. If you look at it, it's 3 years here, 3 years there, and that's the track record you have to go off of. So, but anyway, here we go. Week 1, man. Week 1, we're here. Yeah, interesting game too. I'll say this. I said on the last show that I was going to do prep work by
by playing college football.
By playing college football 25. Not prepping for anything else. Not for a colonoscopy or anything like that.
I was prepping for the season by
that's why I was
banging
laughing.
my head against the wall.
Yes. No, I was doing some prep work by playing as UTEP on college football, and I played played probably 5 games related to UTEP over the course of the week. And so I learned a few things about their team. Their best player on defense is Maurice Westmoreland. He's good. He's really good to play with. He sheds blocks easily in the game. And one of the things about the game is it's not perfect, but you can largely use it as an indicator. In the game, generally Cade McConnell is their starting quarterback, but their offense last year at Austin Peay. So their coach Scotty Walden, he was at Austin Peay last year, and they were a fast-paced offense that relied on the quarterback run. And their quarterback last year graduated, I believe, or moved on, and now they have basically a quarterback battle, is what they're calling it. Where they're essentially gamesmanship. We think it's going to be Cade McConnell. He's the better thrower of the two, but I mean, the thought process on the other guys, the other guy is the better runner of the two, and they were a quarterback run oriented offense before. So a lot of the Austin Peay players came over. wide receivers, defensive linemen. This is not like a detailed preview show like ESPN, so we're not going to go into that. But like as a big picture from UTEP, a lot of players came over from Austin P, and so you can really like what Nebraska has been doing in prep has been watching a lot of Austin P tape from last year. So yeah, it's an interesting test. And when you play UTEP versus Nebraska as Nebraska versus UTEP, I kept trying to beat this spread, which is 27 points. The last I looked, it was 28 at one point, 27.5 right now is what that says. So it's hard to beat in the game. That spread is hard to beat in the game. Not only that, but I had one game that like I tried my darndest and it was 40-39. We won, but the final score was 40-39. And I'm not saying that's indicative of how the game's exactly going to play out, but it's a nice little test. It's a pace offense, an offense that's got a good pace with a quarterback that or with a coach that has a good offensive track record. Then he's got some good players on defense. So and honestly, when you look at their offensive style and then look at what we've got the next week in Colorado, it's really good preparation for that game too. So
it is.
So you got anything preview wise as far as UTEP?
Yeah, no, I watched one of his press conferences. I think it was the Monday one. I tried to look for a more up to date. It is Wednesday when we're recording this, so I was trying to look for a more updated one. I did about 2 seconds worth of looking for one. I couldn't find one, so I was like, all right, whatever. But the one on Monday was like 30 minutes long, so I'd already watched a 30-minute long presser. So some of the things that he took away was at least on Monday, he said that they would shore up their starting quarterback by either Wednesday or Thursday. And I just from what I've seen, I would think we would have heard something if it had come out today. And
they're not going to announce it. If they'll have to put out an injury report.
And even so, he said that he's like, just because we name a starter, that's the person that's going to get the first start. He said they had exactly the same amount of passing attempts. So like they could really compare them. And he said there's some things that one guy does better than the other. So they have like a proper battle kind of going on. I think they have two people that like he feels comfortable with. And you could really kind of come out of that press conference feeling that way. Another thing that he said is like
real quick. My bias was colored by the fact that I played the game and they keep putting Cade McConnell just in. So that's the only guy I've seen, so that's what my bias is colored for. But anyway, keep going on the press conference from Scotty.
Yeah. And then like another thing he said, just in terms of, the defense, he said that they're really prepared for the pass, like really prepared for it. He said that their defense has gotten, he said like upwards of like 4,000 or something reps throughout the camp. Between one-on-ones, team drills, things like that, and he seemed very comfortable with it. So it's going to be
push-ups at all the commercial breaks.
Yeah. But he's going to be he's. I think that's a good kind of indicator of where he thinks the strength in his defense is compared to what the Nebraska offense is going to try to really kind of establish this game. Right? They're going to want to try to throw the ball a little bit because that was our weakness last year. And if we can throw the ball, they know they can run the ball, right? We're very comfortable running the ball. You can even tell by having like 4 starting running backs, basically. Like our running back stable can just feed, and then put in someone else, fresh legs. Like as long as that they stay like healthy, knock on wood.
Yeah. Legs, get your legs here. Yeah. Fresh legs.
Fresh legs here. That should be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
He did say that like he's expecting our defense to be the best defense that he faces all year, which I would probably be willing to bet that. I hope so,
to be honest,
because
we're the
right
big
here,
name, Power 4 team they play. So
yeah, and they're in Conference USA. So they're in same with my alma mater here, Liberty. But this conference really is not known for defense either. So
no.
So you have to kind of take that with a grain of salt.
They had a pretty good they had a pretty good pass defense last year. They were the number 1 pass defense in Conference USA, which was their strong suit. And then the guys they got in reinforce the D line. So there's thought process that this might be a really good defense. So much better than what they were last year potentially. So it's a good test for Raiola in his first game. And one interesting thing is about 2 weeks ago, the general thought process was like, this UTEP game, they're not going to show everything off right off the bat. They're not going to show their whole hand, blah, blah, blah. And, Rule comes out in the press conference and he's just talking about like, he's like, I'm going to, we're going to run the offense. Like Dylan's I'm going to expect Dylan to run the offense, how he runs it in practice and how he's going to run it in his junior year, and then another little tidbit that he said that I think is a big deal is he was just like, look, I want to show that we can pass on film. And that made me think like, oh, he might open it up a little bit and like show the world like, hey, ring the alarms. Nebraska's here.
Well, one of the things that, I really hope it's not just bravado, and Rule's a pretty straight shooter. Like you could kind of tell last year there were some big questions on offense. He was like, guys working hard. It was a bunch of coach speak. It wasn't, and it didn't seem a lot of enthusiasm. It was about a bunch of like, we could see this. It wasn't like he's coming up with a lot of confidence, right? And he's been around for enough years now where he knows what it's supposed to look like, right? So there is some cause for some optimism there. Now I hope that they, I hope that it's as good as people are thinking that it's going to be, right? That's really what I hope. Another like tidbit is like kind of what I talked about whenever I think it was spring ball we were talking about. I was like, Harburg is going to be on the field. They're going to find a spot for him. He's too talented. He's too much of an athletic guy to be sitting on the sideline. And he kind of came out and said, yep. And he's like, I'm not going to really tell you. He's like, I'm not going to tell you like how, but
yeah.
And I mean, it's eventually going to come.
I feel like he oversold it a little bit.
Yeah.
But then like, he was like, he's going to be on the field a lot. I was like, a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be like 3 or 4 plays at an opportune moment.
They'll have a couple packages.
If we're honest with ourselves,
they'll have a couple packages with ourselves for him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's an elite runner. Tim Tebow, like.
Yeah, very. So they're gonna have that, and you kind of knew that was coming too when they decided to pick up another veteran QB for the room, somebody that they were really they could rely on if they needed to, if injuries, again, knock on wood, beginning of season, if that were to get in the way there. So that makes them a little bit more comfortable doing that, right? Because Harburg is the clear number 2. But there's one behind him that isn't so far away.
Well, let me pose a hypothetical to you though. Let's say that unfortunately our run game never gets established like we want it to ever in the year, right? And the number one weapon that we rely on, but we do have success as a team. We're winning games. And the number one weapon we're relying on is Dylan Raiola at quarterback making throws. He gets, hurt or something. He can't play. Are you going to put in Heinrich Harburg? And when we haven't even established the run ever, or are you going to, at that stage of the season, put in a quarterback where you may be able to keep the air, the air ball game going, the throw game going with Jalen Gramstat or even Danny Kalen,
even for all intents and purposes, from everything I've said, like seen from practice and everything.
Yeah.
Those two are heads and shoulders above everybody else. Heinrich and Raiola, with Raiola being, again, heads and shoulders probably a little bit
just because of what they bring to the table, though. I don't know if you compare how Jalen Gramstat or Danny operates as a passer and then compare that directly with Heinrich. That's an interesting comparison to me.
Sure,
it's like, you know what I mean. Like it's an unfair comparison because he brings a whole other aspect to the game, right? But
which could then open up the run,
right?
Yeah. But there's hypotheticals that we
right
now. But so with all that being said, it is an interesting matchup. New year, new coach, new system that UTEP's going with.
New year,
again,
new me.
New year, new me. We have some new pieces that we've tried to bolster on our offense.
Mhm.
So hopefully that they're working out. We have a dedicated quarterbacks coach now, and
I
seasoned
just
professional, and so you just really hope that you see the things that we want to see, right?
I just finished watching the Big Red preview or whatever it is, with Michael Severe and Damon Benning and all those dudes.
Yeah.
And like it might be true. So, I'm not saying it's hyperbole, but one of them said they were like, you just go to practice and you see Nayor and you're like, that guy looks like Julio Jones. And then you look over and you see Jalen Lloyd and you're like, that guy looks like Devontae Smith. It's like chill, bro.
Yeah.
Chill.
Those are two people that they haven't played any snap for us.
Yeah,
a very long
like,
time.
yeah.
Is Nayor specifically? I don't really have.
Yeah.
Banks.
He's impressive looking.
Banks is going to be impressive. Banks has played.
I watched his highlight tape yesterday. It's so impressive.
Banks is a proven commodity. There's a reason that he's got a single digit. There's a reason that he's they're very high on him, right?
Yeah.
Nayor, all the skills in the world. He hasn't played meaningful football for like 2 years, right? And he's been like injured and then got buried on the depth chart on a very talented roster. So you don't know how he's going to turn out. He has all the skills there, but he's not as a surefire hit as some of the other people, right? And then
what was that receiver from a couple years ago that made the super important catch against Oklahoma? And we always wanted him to be good, but he never really panned out fully like
Omar Manning.
Omar Manning. That's
Omar
right.
Manning.
Omar Manning. He had
all the physical attributes.
It's a similar type of body, right?
And you know what they were talking about with
Manning,
him? DK Metcalf.
Really?
Like, oh my God. Yeah, no, look how, man, he looks like DK Metcalf.
I mean, look, I would take Omar Manning right now again.
Right now,
I would just see what he could do.
Yeah.
But anyway, Nair is impressive to be said, because he does have sort of like a body type, maybe not as thick as Omar Manning was, but definitely as big. But Nair's faster. I'm sorry, Nair's fast. He's really fast. He's got like top end speed similar to Lloyd, but Lloyd's just got that acceleration. You know what I mean? Like
Lloyd has another gear, right?
That's the thing. Well, in a 100-meter dash, there's one of two types of runners, right? There's the ones that win it because they start faster than everybody. Then there's the one that, like the guy who won this year, Lyles. He has a better back half of the race, as I think was his thing. So you never know, but I just think like when they get to their top gear, just because you see the length of them and stuff, I'm like, man, I'm hard pressed to find anybody who's truly faster at top gear than they are. Maybe at 50 yards, Lloyd would beat him, but at actual top speed, they can measure that. That's what's interesting about those things. They measure it, so they know.
And like Coleman, like Malachi would.
Yeah, true. Him too.
He's fast.
Yeah,
but he's smooth. He doesn't look like he's like zipping, but he is. He's flying.
Yep.
Similar
to Trey Palmer, honestly. You could throw him. I mean, he was so fast, but like really, when you watch Trey run, like he's just smooth, man. Smooth.
Nice and smooth.
Yeah. But anyway, all right, let's go to the game, man. Let's go to the game.
All right.
So what do you think's gonna happen?
All right.
Keys to the game.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. Let's say some keys here, right?
Yeah.
Something that we've been talking about all off season. Something we've talked about ever since National Signing Day. Had the 5-star flip from Georgia, the savior of the program, Dylan Raiola. How is he going to play? Right?
Yeah.
It is like you see him. He says all the right things. He's very impressive for a true freshman, just on the podium. Then you see stuff on practice. You see stuff in the spring game. Definitely being live is going to be a difference, because at this point he hasn't been hit since high school. It's just different mentally. Even if you like they're playing sacks and stuff, it's different. So we'll see how he plays. If he comes and he's as advertised, or even just almost as advertised, I think that we'll be fine in this game and probably the rest of the season. So that needs to get going. Like if early on, if we can get passing, I think we'll probably roll. But if their defense is as advertised through the pass, And again, he seemed very confident in that. Who knows if they're going up against the same skill wise as the receivers on paper.
Are you saying like who seemed confident? Scotty, their coach,
Their
or
coach,
their coach?
their
Okay.
coach, their coach seemed very confident in their pass defense.
Mm.
So a good key indicator is, can Raiola make the completions? How do they think that they are going to match up with their ones on ones? On the outside, are they going to throw across the middle? A key indicator that you trust your guy, just as a quarterback in general, is throwing across the middle.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things happening there. There's people there, people just for coverages. They can look like they're blitzing and drop into coverage into zone. You can do crossing. There's so many things that happen in the middle, and there's so many things that can go wrong. So lots of teams that are trying to compensate for that, you'll see them do rub routes that are just drags. Quick outs. Quick meshes to the sideline, and really throwing stuff that only their guy can catch it. Not really risking it all that much.
Not in a goal line situation, please. I just keep thinking about Russell Wilson. What was it? The 2014? Was it 2014 or 2013? One of those Super Bowls back around then. The Seahawks. Yeah. They had beast mode right there, and they decided to go slam.
It was second down.
Second down, dude. That's right.
Second down, and they had a timeout. I think it was so dumb.
Yeah, so dumb.
But
it makes you think of like the Mario Cristobal, like last year when they had the game 1 against Georgia Tech, running the ball and then fumbling, stuff like that. It's that's okay. That's what I wanted to mention. Keys to the game, and I think this is going to be worth mentioning before every game until it's not, okay? And that is no unforced turnovers, no unforced penalties, nothing, no penalties where it's like that was a mental mistake.
Yeah.
And then no turnovers where it was like that was completely our fault. You know what I mean? If
a fumbled snap that no one's around and you're bungling it.
Exactly. If you hand the running back the football, they have a good run, but then at the end of it, it's a great tackle and then I can handle all that type of stuff. If on 3rd and long, Dylan's trying to fit a ball into the middle and it's tipped and caught I can handle that. I can to an extent. I can handle that.
Yeah.
But like the unforced, none of that. We can't. That is like the number one thing that's been plaguing this program for the last better part of a decade. And that is really the number one factor into if we'll get rolling or not. I mean, people want to talk about Raiola and it's like, yeah, I agree. And, I hope he operates clean. But everybody around him's got to do their part too. If we do have one of those, we got to stay in the plus. That's the other thing. We got to stay in the plus. So we got to think of it like this. It's like, if we do have a play where they make a good play on the ball and get a turnover, well, guess what, defense? Now you got to get one. You know what I mean? Like you got to go get one.
Yeah. Our defense does have to do better.
Switch your settings. You got to switch the settings. You got to go into the settings menu. You got to switch it to you got to go into the settings menu. You got to switch it to aggressive ball hawking. Isn't that like a thing in Madden and CFP?
Yeah.
You switch your defensive mentality.
Yeah.
There's like a contained mentality, and then there's like a anyway.
But
so what do you think's going to happen? Any more keys to the game? We're still at keys to the game.
No, you're right. For turnover battle, quarterback play, those are the kind of things that are pretty big indicators that, we should
penalties too, man.
Penalties too. Just being able to play a clean game would be outstanding. I don't really think anything else. And I don't think, and I forgot to say this in our season prediction, I don't think our defense is as dominant this year.
Interesting. That's a hot take, man. It's a hot take.
I don't think they're bad, but I do think they take maybe 1 or 2 steps down. And especially in like linebacker position. So
we just lose the dead weight there. Like I love Luke Reimer and Nick Heinrich. But let's be honest, they were limited, especially Heinrich. Like Reimer pulled his weight a lot more and was like a big pivotal part of the defense. So don't get me wrong on the Reimer take. But Heinrich, if an offense would catch Heinrich in a certain position or situation, it would screw us. because he just didn't have a
No,
certain
you're
skill
right.
set.
I'm just
So
saying that
the
it's
guys we
it's
have
second
are
year,
more versatile now. I
second
think.
year in Tony White's system, and Tony White's a great coordinator. And
Yeah.
I'm probably wrong about this, but I just kind of a hunch I have that they're going to figure it out a little bit more this year, and they're not going to be as dominant, right? They're still
I
going to
just
be a
think the
good
personnel's
defense.
so
They're
much
still
better,
going to
man.
they're still going to be a top 25 defense.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're going to be number 11. Like I don't,
I just think
So-
John Bullock's going to be a freaking stud. I mean, I really am
Listen.
impressed with him.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with Bayer.
Yeah.
They all got single digits. Look, like
I know.
corner positions: Marquise
It's just,
Buford,
again,
Tommy Hill,
it's-
Marquise Buford, Tommy Hill, Hartzog, Singleton, and who's the last one? Giff. I mean, oh my God,
Again.
dude, that's so good.
It's the one thing that we're really not worrying about. So in
Yeah.
years past, it's the one thing that I should have been worrying about. So that's where my head is going. But
I guess.
but let's
Last year going real quick. Last year going into the season, like we were like, oh, defense won't be a problem. I'm worried about the offense. We were pretty right. So like, you know what I mean? Like,
Fair.
So anyway, let's predict.
Yeah, let's predict. Yeah. So again, this is gonna be interesting. I've been burned so many times by this team. We've talked offline about it, me specifically, and I'm just like, if this hype train, especially this offseason, has been so hard to keep yourself on solid ground. It's been so hard. And keeping yourself realistic, especially this week, I feel like it's just been ratcheted up. Oh my gosh.
The week's crawled by.
Oh
It
my
has
gosh.
crawled by, man.
And I want to get the answers to the things that, are plaguing my mind, make me feel a little better. And I do think that we come out a little bit, not flat, but I just, new year, working out the kinks, working out the bugs. It's the first time they're playing against people that aren't the opposite side of you, like for the last 8 months. So, there's going to be a little learning curve. Oh, if I do this, then I can get by this guy, or that's okay. If I block him here, that's where he's weak. So there's a little bit of like a give and take at the beginning of the game, finding the weaknesses, and especially with the new staff, they really, you can look at Austin P, what they ran, but coaches change stuff up all the time when they go to a different school, different players, different everything, right? Sometimes they were just coaching that way out of necessity. Sometimes when they get in a better place, which Austin P is less than UTEP, let's just say it like it's true. He might be able to do a little bit more. That being said, though, I think it's really close through the first half. We probably go in with maybe a 3-point touchdown lead at into halftime, probably around like maybe 14-10, somewhere around there. And then we come out second half. And then we could probably put another, 14. Like if we can score like 35 points, I would be ecstatic, right?
Yeah.
Because so 35-17. That's what I'm going to predict.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, from my perspective, I could totally see the game going like this. Start of the game, we get the ball first and we score quick. And then we stop them and everyone's hyped. 7-0, scored quick. Rayola looked good. We stopped them. We get the ball back. We score again. One more time. 14-0. All of a sudden, it's like, all right, here we go. Season's afoot. And everybody's like talking on Twitter, And then, but from then, it's like midway through the first quarter, maybe almost into the first quarter. And you've seen the offense 2 times and they start getting stuck in the mud. And it starts to just really subtly, like it's not like we're bad or anything, but we're not capitalizing on drives. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, they have one good drive and it ends 14-3 going into half. Right now, they get the ball going into the second half, but we've had halftime to go over things with Glenn Thomas, with the iPads, with all the new stuff. And so they come out and they score immediately. So it's 14-10 and everybody's freaking out on the message boards. Like, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden the gates of hell open and it's from then on, they pretty much don't score again until our starters are gone, which is the end of the third quarter. It'll be like 35-10. And then And then from there, it'll be like our second score like 1 tutty, and they give up like 14 points. So the final score will end up being like 42-24. So doesn't look like a blowout maybe on paper, but it technically was a 1 quarter blowout, because look, when you have the quarterback as high level as Dylan Raiola, and then you have a defense that can put together 3 and outs like ours can, I know ours can. It's like you can just rack them up quick, rack them up. And man, I just think that's a likely outcome, and it'll show us that, like, we can mess around and lose with anybody, but also we can score 24 points in 1 quarter. You know what I mean? So that's how I could see the game going. And honestly, that's kind of what I'll predict. I'll predict like a 42-24 win from Nebraska.
42-24. Okay, so neither of us have them covering the spread, which I think is way too high. Let's throw that up again. What is it? It's like
27.5.
27.5 right
Game
now.
odds, yeah, 27.5.
As of Wednesday. Get off
over under 49. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
49. Oh my God. That is 49. So what? 25-24. Or 31-17 is essentially what they're predicting. 31-18, 32.
I mean, listen,
17.
I would love because if we hit over on this, then we win. Like, I don't think UTEP has the depth to run with us on a game like that. I hope not. You hope not.
Georgia Southern did somehow. They did. I mean, because remember, if you watch that game,
Southern had a coach that coached at USC, right?
Oh, okay.
He had coached in big games. He coached good teams. He had coached against good stuff, and he knew exactly how to pick us apart.
No doubt about it. No, but they were a deeper than normal unit for a school of that caliber. And I mean, if you remember watching that game, it sort of went a lot like what I just described. It was like a back and forth like war. And I remember thinking as a Nebraska fan, after each touchdown, I was like, okay, now we're gonna break away. Now we're gonna break away.
And then we went ahead.
We just never
late
did.
In the fourth. We went ahead late in the fourth. All our defense had to do was stop them. I was like, okay, this will be the time. I don't know.
See, that's where I think our defense can improve most of all. Is like there's like a mental aspect of things where like they're a good defense, but they broke down in bad moments last year. Like, I think it was the second half of Colorado. Now, you can't blame them because they were on the field coming, they were on the field for 90% of the first half. So I don't blame them for that. You have to play complementary football. That being said, there's multiple big moments like that just like we could have used to stop just to keep us in things and didn't happen. So I think just key moment stops are like the biggest area they can improve, that and turnover margin. So
again,
we'll
it
see.
is. You say just the Colorado game. They were on the field a lot. They were on the field a lot all season, all season. They were. So that again, defense is harder than offense. 100% is right. On offense, you know where you're trying to go. On defense, you're trying to figure out where they're trying to go. So it's so much harder. And then you're expelling a lot more energy. So it is a lot more difficult to sustain that over the course of a game if you're on the field too much. It's been that way since, the dawn of football, right? So it's important that our offense in key moments can hold the ball, run some clock, give our defense some rest. Even if they don't score, that's important to have a couple first downs in a drive, let them get their breath a little bit, and be able to go back out there a little bit fresh,
and to have them out there at least like without the fear of them completely giving the game away. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. If you're a defense and it's 14-14 and it's like, man, we can stay in this. We just need our offense to like give us a break and don't give the game away while you're out there. Get a first down or two and just don't give them the ball at a bad time. Punt it to where they got bad field position, and we'll give you all the ball when we have good field position. That's the idea, right? That idea, that thinking about the game in that way is what Iowa really excels at more than anything. And if you can put a 5-star, number 1 overall, Trevor Lawrence level, what people have called that type of quarterback behind an offense with some real weapons, and then you have also the complementary approach of Kirk Ferentz with the hard-nosed defense, That's a national championship recipe. That is what that is. Now, will it happen? No, not this year. I'll say that right now. But who knows?
Shocked.
But who knows?
Shocked. But
would you take PTO off for that?
Yeah. He's okay. So he's busting my balls because he's going to the Colorado game, and he's like, "What if we blow the doors off of Colorado and you just decided not to take off work?" And I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be at a conference. It was not my
no.
I'll be gone.
Okay.
So
it's okay.
But
no,
now
I was just saying, like,
we can't even go to a game.
Context. The last time I went to a Nebraska game without Blake was Miami 2014.
Yeah.
And then since then, Blake and I went to Ohio State.
Yeah, I'll
Michigan.
let you be wrong.
What?
You've gone without me since then.
Illinois. Come on, who cares about that? And guess what? Two people were in town during the Illinois game, so must have gone right. You know which two people were in town during the Illinois game? Matt Rule and Dylan Raiola. So I'm kind of happy that I was at the Illinois game. Yeah, that's a confirmed fact. Matt Rule was at the Illinois game scoping things out. Before he even got hired.
Though.
Yeah, we lost. But it was the most important day in Husker history, perhaps, because two statues, two people who are getting statues,
trying to cope because you forgot about that game.
It was one game, and it's in a year where it was one game in a year where we also went to the Oklahoma game, and then the year later we went to the Michigan game, and so it's all So five of them.
You know what?
Yeah,
you should have seen us in the 90s.
Yeah, well. The country was better in the 90s too.
well, second in that. But yeah, no. We so we have a couple days now. We're gonna, know a lot of the answers to questions.
Yeah, we got good football tomorrow.
Tomorrow Colorado plays. I think Rutgers plays tomorrow as well.
It's Colorado and Colorado and North Dakota State, and then it's Minnesota. Or it's North Carolina at Minnesota, isn't it?
Tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
I thought I was watching the Big Ten Network and I saw Rutgers plays tomorrow.
I could be wrong. Let's look at the schedule. Give me one more edit to make.
Yeah, but you're right as well. Look at this.
Oh, I am?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So we got a lot of good games tomorrow.
So tomorrow we have
Rutgers,
Howard
5
at
p.m.
Rutgers.
Howard at Rutgers.
Howard
Griffiths has a team.
Yeah, Howard Griffiths has a team. Then we have North Carolina, Minnesota. That should be interesting.
Yeah, that will be interesting.
And then we have,
KU
Illinois.
Plays.
This doesn't have Colorado.
Yeah, I have. I'm on like just the ESPN. KU plays. Coastal plays Jacksonville. But yeah, the two big games that I'm definitely gonna have my eye on is Colorado and North Dakota State, and then UNC,
Missouri,
Minnesota. Both those games are at the same time, so it'll be a back and forth flip.
Yeah.
So what's funny? What would you say is the most likely scenario in a Colorado versus North Dakota State tomorrow? Right, Colorado wins by very little. That's the most likely scenario, right? By like 3, I think, or something like that.
I think they win by like 2.5 scores.
Okay, good. So here's what I did. That was my thought process too. I was like, if Colorado is going to win, they're going to win by a decent amount. Yeah. And if they lose, it'll be a close game, but they lose, right? Because North Dakota State's a finisher. They're a championship program. So I put $10 on North Dakota State money line to win 33. That's 10 to win 33. They're only plus 330. That's what's crazy about it. So 10 to win 33. And then I put $10 on Colorado to cover the 9-point. Sweet. I got a better rate to cover a 9-point spread. So one way or another, I'm going to lose, but also win. Yeah. So if Colorado covers, like I break even essentially. But if North Dakota State wins, I win like $23 or something like that.
Wow.
So
You're gonna-
yeah, that's
you're
the
gonna-
way to do
you're
it.
gonna
That's
break
really the way to
bank.
set up your bets. I mean, think about it
Yeah.
if it was like we were talking about $230 instead of 23. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it makes more sense the more money you put into it.
Yeah, but there's also the more risk. But
No
yeah,
doubt,
no,
no
I
doubt,
think, I mean, since we're still in predictions,
Yeah.
let's just predict Colorado score.
Yeah, sure.
Because I wouldn't usually, like, if we weren't playing them this year, I wouldn't really give a crap.
Right.
But second game of the season, I
Yeah.
think a lot of this narrative, again, that, Colorado better be careful, North Dakota State is a good team. They are a good team. I think it's overblown. I think they're just setting it up for like a Colorado domination to be like, see, we doubted him. Prime, all the stuff that's happened with Prime. I just think they're setting it up for Colorado's benefit. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I think where there's smoke, there's fire. I think that Athlon article about the culture of Colorado, I think that the idea that Colorado has essentially become a fascist dictator in charge of the Colorado program. I hate to bring political hyperbole into this, but he's banning journalists. So what am I supposed to say?
And that's what the journalists called him too. So
yeah, did he really? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I just think everything surrounding it is like, man, there's too much surrounding it for there to just be nothing. And his culture is actually awesome. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, sorry for the mic peak, but no, I'm sorry. Like his culture is not actually awesome. There's no way. I'd put my life on it.
Like,
so
if he had kept a lot of his players from last year and shown like that he can develop,
right,
not just get transfer people, because just the nature of transfer people. If that was the way that you can win, like massive roster overhauls, Georgia would be doing it.
Yeah,
Alabama would have been
100%.
doing it. Like, again, they had a lot of the people that are transferring, but
right,
still, like,
it's a different proposition at Colorado,
all
right?
of these. You would see all these programs doing it.
Agreed.
Now he has to. There was a point. I think
There's
Josh Pate
nuance
brought
to
it up.
right? Yeah.
He brought up this when he was talking to Joel Klatt this past week, and he said, I think that point is valid, but it's a little maligned because at a place like Colorado, you're not going to be able to recruit the way that you can at other places,
especially if you don't
right?
try. That's the thing. That's like what shuts down the argument immediately. Is like he's not even trying. He's not even trying.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's like he's not even trying.
Yeah.
Like that's all you got to say.
Yeah.
And that's my thoughts on the game. Really, is like who has a really good culture and who does try? North Dakota State.
Yeah. Final score.
What was your finished thought? Go ahead.
Final score.
Final score. It's gonna be like 17-14.
Really?
Yes.
Defensive.
It's gonna be an ugly game because North Dakota State is gonna put pressure on Shedeur. We sacked him 8 times last year. They have just as much of
their offensive line.
Oh yeah, all new guys in 1 year. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, come on, Prime. You got to know being around football. Like, there's chemistry that needs to be developed.
Again, if they were playing UTEP, UTEP is a Division I school.
Yeah.
North Dakota State is an FCS school. It is different.
Fair point.
Right?
Fair point.
It's different. If they were playing UTEP, I would probably be right there with you.
Yeah.
But who knows? They've done it. They've done it in the past. They really have, with different coaching staffs. I don't think that's something people are actually connecting. Yeah. That's like different coaching staffs. There's been not turnover, getting hired away.
Yeah.
So like, good problem to have because you're winning, but it doesn't really seem to matter who they put in there either. So
look. Could you imagine? Okay, imagine this. Let's jump a little bit. Let's jump over to Columbus, Ohio for a little bit of a hyper. Imagine this. Imagine if 8 games through this season, Ryan Day fires Chip Kelly because the offense is not doing well. Imagine that. He's the $3 million coordinator who's been a head coach, who's an absolutely legendary offensive coordinator, and he fires him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to a smaller scale, that is essentially what Prime did last year with his offensive coordinator, a guy who had been a head coach, a guy who's known for offense, a guy who you can rely on. And halfway through the season, with his little patchwork offensive line that was giving up sack after sack, I mean, you can't be an offensive coordinator when you can't execute. And he's fired. He takes Prime does not take any responsibility with it. He puts the responsibility on that guy.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. Like, and you know me, like I was when all this Prime stuff first came up, I was arguing on behalf of him. I was like, look, he's just turning it into like a WWE thing where blah 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 blah. But in all reality,
what a difference a year makes.
There's no substance. That's the problem. There has to be substance there. You know what I mean? Like with early Conor McGregor, the reason he was so awesome was because he knocked people out. You know, it's because he knocked people out. Like, and the reason why nobody really respects him today is because he doesn't fight anymore. So, like with Prime, I don't care if you do all that talk and a mess, but you gotta back it up. So we'll see. We've talked enough about Colorado, but I think they're gonna lose. I do.
45-21.
That's what you
Colorado.
put in Colorado, 45-21. I mean, yeah, maybe I'd go higher than 17-14. I'm just trying to be, I'm just trying to have a hot take on things.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Because I bet the over-under is like, what, 56
right now,
points? 57?
Right now, just if you talk to anybody, my take is the hotter take. Because they think Colorado, they're in trouble.
Fair.
Like,
You're right. You're right.
Like, there are people that legitimately are picking North Dakota State. Like,
you're right.
National
but
people.
When you hear me lay it all out like that, you kind of get it.
No,
I mean, like, there's a lot. Why?
You're right.
But anyway, I wouldn't want to play for him. I'm just being honest. I wouldn't want to play for him, but I suck at football. I mean, I don't completely suck, but I'm not a Division I level football player.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. Neither of us are football players at all anymore.
No, not anymore. I was deadlifting today. And
gosh.
you would think that your back would hurt. You would think like maybe sometimes your wrists. My big toe was killing me when I was deadlifting, and I was like, why? Why is my big toe
healthy,
killing me? Huh? Yeah.
You eat healthy? Have you been eating good? You haven't been eating like crap? Because I was listening to a Matt and Shane secret show the other day, and
two healthy guys.
No. I was listening to a Matt and Shane secret show the other day, and then one of the guys on the show talked about how he got gout because he was just eating Wawa subs all the time, nonstop. And so it was just like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, processed meat, nitrates, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Gosh.
And there's this when you eat stuff like that, there's this acid that accumulates in your body, and it drops to one of the lowest points. And usually people get gout like in their big toe or in their ankle or something like that. So when you said big toe, I immediately thought of gout.
No, there was some sort of pressure that was happening, even though like my weight was distributed, like my form was okay, and I don't know what was happening. I was just like, I'm getting old. My big toe is hurting.
Were you doing like over 300 pounds?
Oh no. I know. I was doing 185. I was doing
so nothing crazy like rep work.
I was doing rep work. That's all I do now. I don't try to bulk. I don't try to bulk weight.
Yeah. Well, a perfect rep is going to be hard if you do enough of them. I mean, Joe Rogan talks about how he only the heaviest thing he works with is like a 70-pound kettlebell. That thing around enough in the right ways, and you can get pretty jacked. Yeah. For me, I've just been doing push-ups at the breaks of my Fortnite games and of TV that I watch.
Yeah.
I'll do like 25 push-ups. It's good.
Mix in some squats, some burpees.
Well, I mix in what I've mixed in so far is a low plank, a high plank. When I'm just tired of the reps of push-ups, I mix in a low plank, a high plank. I mix in some Russian twists, and then side planks, just stuff like on the ground, easy on the ground stuff. Right now, I've been doing that for a couple weeks, and it's crazy how like definition comes quick when you do the working out like that consistently, especially calisthenics work. It's just a type of work you could do a lot of reps, not necessarily kill your joints, and then recover quick. So
Yep.
Um,
No, absolutely. And yeah, I don't know how we got in a workout tangent, but
yeah, we
that's
did.
fine.
We did though. We
No,
did though.
that's fine. We
Calisthenics
don't
is great. Do calisthenics.
do
Listen to
calisthenics.
my album. Go listen to my album. I'm gonna
Do
plug that.
Pilates.
I'm gonna
Okay.
plug that. Do
Yeah, no,
calisthenics. Listen to my album while you do calisthenics.
yeah.
Um,
Let's add a banner here
oh,
because
okay. And takeaways from me. Paul Feinbaum reaction.
oh yeah, that was from a
Yeah.
while ago.
Good old Paul.
Good old Paul. No, but we're wrapping up here. I'm so excited college football's back.
Yeah.
Going to an Imagine Dragons concert on Friday, so that'll distract me. So that should be fun.
Does everybody collectively imagine the dragons?
Imagine the Dragons, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen them before. Apparently they're pretty good in concert.
When they do radioactive, hopefully they'll bring out the drums. I've seen them do that live.
Hopefully they bring
I
out
haven't seen them live,
uranium.
but yeah, uranium. No, radioactive. You seen them with all the drums?
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine
we'll see.
Dragons, white people music. I love it.
White people music. Yeah.
It is.
They just came out with an album, which is actually pretty decent. They tried some new stuff. So
that's good. I like Imagine Dragons. They just remind me of like I like them a lot. They just remind me of like some it's good, but it's like advertising music. It's like really good on advertisement. You know what I mean? They got some good songs, but it's just so in the zeitgeist now. Like It's Time when it first came out was such a banger, right? But nowadays it just kind of reminds you of like
a coming of age movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. I've been listening to a lot of their songs because their first album came out in 2012, and that's when I graduated high school. So really brings me back to that time, and I haven't listened to it in years.
Good
right?
stuff. It's good stuff.
But it is good stuff. But I'm doing that Friday, so it should distract me for the rest of Friday. I'm gonna go golfing in the morning because I'm off work. So
do y'all just do like I play my game, you play your game, or do y'all do a scramble, or what do y'all do?
Megan and I.
Oh, is it just you and Megan?
Yeah.
Oh, does she?
And she's just learning.
She's just learning.
Yeah, she's.
So
just
y'all
learning.
both. Do you ever do stuff? It's like you can play off my shot. Just play.
Oh
off
yeah.
mine.
No, if there's people behind us starting to get close, we would do that.
Yeah.
And I'll take multiple tee shots. I haven't been playing that long either. I'm really trying to work on my driver off the tee box, which is harder than you think. So it's what that is what it is. But then then college football starts, and we have a noon slot that is just amazing.
Do we really?
Oh yeah, Clemson, Georgia.
Oh! I thought you meant Nebraska was playing at noon. Yeah,
no.
yeah. I mean, there's good games all day. There is.
Clemson, Georgia. I think Penn State.
Penn
West
State
Virginia.
At West Virginia is that time too, which was a good game a couple years ago too.
Oh yeah. I mean, West Virginia can be hit or miss. So
they can.
Yeah. So lots of stuff coming. Super excited for the season to start.
Yeah, we're at 2:30, right? 2:30 on Saturday. 2:30 on
2:30
Saturday.
Central, 3:30 Eastern.
Yeah, got football tomorrow. Got football all weekend. It's time, dude. This is literally the last day.
It's time to begin, isn't it?
Yeah. This is literally the last day without football, though, for like probably the next 90 days or something like that, which is awesome. Wild. So let's get excited. And we'll have a wrap up game. We'll wrap up probably Saturday night, right after the game.
We'll
maybe. Have a wrap up.
We'll think about that.
Figure it out. If it's if we lost, then no.
But please follow us at @CHusker_corner on Twitter.
Yes.
X, sorry. And then follow Music Brain on Instagram. Do you have a Twitter?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But you can Instagram and YouTube, and it's on all streaming apps. So just Music Brain, BRANE, one word, Music Brain.
Music Brain, all one word. You can find it Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, basically everything that you have, right?
Yes. It's on Spotify right now. If it's not on Apple Music, I mean, it should be by the time this podcast drops. But I don't know if right here. Let me look it up. It's on there now. It's on Apple Music now. So it's everywhere.
So look it up. Music Brain, Music
It's
Brain EP.
everywhere. It's viral.
I make it right here. I'm sitting right here like this at this exact angle, doing this, making it.
No
So
pants.
just know, like, yeah, no pants.
No
That's
underwear.
The big difference. Yes.
Um,
So just know if you check it
just
out,
letting the
just
juices
know,
flow.
You get to see this is what it looks like.
Alrighty. On that note, go Big Red.
Go Big Red,
always
baby. I'm so
remember,
excited.
no place like